Very pleased to be joined by Ryan Straschnitzki, who, you know what I was going to say. I'm not a creep, Ryan, but I was just kind of online yesterday. I noticed you were also out at Stampede. We won't share those photos. We won't get into any of that. But you were also part of.
Is there a video for that?
No, we won't. I wouldn't do it to him. Stampede was good to you, though, was it?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. Just finally getting the chance to somewhat relax and hang out with friends. It was fun.
Well, it's good to talk to you, man. We haven't seen you for a long time. I guess there's a lot to get into. We want to talk about the golf tournament, and we'll start there and we'll finish there. It's the Launch Charity Golf Tournament coming up in August 27th. And I guess tell us a little bit, because there's kind of two parts of this. There's the pre and the golf itself, and then the post. I guess that's 3 parts, but it starts at Launchpad, Heritage Point. Walk us through what's coming up on the 27th of August.
So yeah, we're having this charity golf tournament, and essentially what we're doing is trying to raise funds for adaptive sports equipment to provide to those also looking to get into adaptive sports, because it can be quite inaccessible and quite expensive for some families. So that's what we're trying to do, is try to mitigate those costs. And then by doing that, we want to have this golf tournament to show off this new para golfer that I have. It allows me to stand up and play golf. So we're introducing this into the tournament. What we're trying to add some teams, add some numbers, get some sponsors, and then on top of that, we're going to have Paralympians and Olympians at the event as well, to help them sort of meet and greet and create a platform for themselves as well. So in this case, everyone wins. And at the same time, we're raising awareness for adaptive sports equipment as well.
So again, now I guess give us the website, and then I want to talk about the foundation. But the website to go and register, as you mentioned, there's foursomes available, twosomes, and still some sponsorship opportunities as well.
Yeah, lots of spots open and sponsorship opportunities, but the website is strazstrongfoundation.com. It's STRAZ strongfoundation.com/launch.
There you go. So I was at it was the Brian Burke event last week, the Targets for Kids or skeet shooting, and Cedar Strand was there. We got to get him to stop. He's wearing tight shirts, eh? He's like, could you not do that?
You got it. You got to flaunt it.
If you could not do that. So I assume Cedar Strand will be part of it. But looking forward to that. That's awesome. I mean, it's great that you're doing that. Let's talk about this adaptive golf cart. I know there's different kinds, and admittedly, once we knew you were coming on, I kind of looked into it. And there's like the cart itself, like what we would, and then the driver's seat kind of moves or whatever. That thing that you've got there, that thing's unbelievable. Tell us a little bit about how that thing works for you.
Yeah, so this machine is essentially like a golf cart that, instead of having that seat swing out to the side, essentially just has a device on it that allows me to stand up in different settings. So if I want my knees bent a little bit more for different shots, or if I want to be upright completely, it allows me to do that. And actually that machine was an old machine that I actually rented from Copper Point out in Invermere. But recently I just bought a new machine from Germany, because that's where they manufacture it. And obviously it wasn't the cheapest thing, but now that we have it at Heritage Point, it's going to be there year round. And it's an even better model. Like, it just moves well, it's smooth, it's balanced. It just allows me to play golf regularly and like play with friends now.
Now, of course, you've been in the sled with the Paramen's hockey. Did that kind of give you a bit of a head start, your hockey background, or is it still just kind of learning a new thing all together?
Definitely. I think the hockey sense carried over, like knowing where to be, how to play the game. But when your mind thinks faster than your body moves, and that's exactly the sort of situation I was in. I'm like, okay, I got to learn how to skate and how to use my left hand, and while doing that, learn to get hit as well. So it was a complete 180, but I think that hockey sense helped me out a lot.
You still have those guys. It's like, hey, Ryan, you got to keep your head down. No, you're moving. You got to get your hands. You're not. You got to turn your wrists. You got to turn your wrists over, because you're using the one arm. I think that's just less shit to get in the road, right? It's just one arm, follow through, back in the cart, and away we go.
Yeah, exactly.
How's the putting? How's that going?
Not too bad. I mean, obviously could use some work, but just practicing every time. So,
is this machine going to shave off some bogeys? Like, what are we talking here? The golf's infuriating. You're actually going to try to do more of this?
Feels like you're cheating, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are some rules with paragolf that I didn't know. Like, if you're actually competing, if it lands in a certain bunker, you actually just get a drop ball in certain bunkers.
Come on.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, there's
bullshit.
That. And then if I think there's another one where if you line up incorrectly a little bit, you can move the ball 6 inches in any direction so that it lines up just perfectly. So I'm like, all right, that could save my ass. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
That's that piece of equipment specifically. That's got to be just such an amazing. I just think of it's to be out on the golf course. It's just it's freeing, and so many people are so passionate about it. Different than the para hockey, I think, in a way where any age group. What was it like the first time you got into that thing and you realized that this is possible? This thing is kind of a miracle in a way.
Exactly what you said, right? It's freeing. You're out there, you're not, under a score clock, and there's not, you're not trying to beat the other opponent. You're just out there with yourself and just trying to get better at the sport. There's no pressure. You're just out there having fun. And, I thought the first time well, how far can I take this? Maybe it can actually make this into a bigger sport or get more of these machines so that more people can play. And I'm fortunate enough that it's actually at Heritage Point year round now, and it can be used at Launchpad as well. So, now that it's there full time, I think people can use it, get an understanding, get a perspective, and then maybe help raise funds to get more.
Yeah, that's very cool. Now, is there cooler? You got a cooler in there? Got room to hang out on the back, maybe?
Yeah, there's actually space. You can always fit a couple.
Which sport are you enjoying more? Do you like the competitiveness of the hockey or the calmness of the golf?
That's tough. It
Nice
all
mix.
depends. Yeah, it's so evenly balanced. Like hockey takes up the winter, right? And you're there all the time. But in the summer, when you just want to relax and get away from the season, I mean, they both have their pros and cons, but still hockey is a huge part of my life. So gotta go with hockey.
I was going to say, I don't have the patience for golf. No.
Although there's enough people in your life, you'd like to get away from them too, right? You got kids and wife and all that sort of stuff. It's like, I'm going golfing. I'm getting the hell out of here. Let's talk about about hockey. Now you're with Team Alberta with the para ice hockey. There's the Paralympics coming up, something like Italy or something in 2026. What? Is this kind of on the radar a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to compete for a spot. I mean, I'm playing at the provincial level now and go to a bunch of camps with Team Canada's development roster, which is like the Black Aces and whatnot. So, hoping, every September they have tryouts just to get that invite and just make a push to get a roster spot. It's a tight family there, and obviously there's 1 or 2 spots every year. So, I'm just hoping for the best, putting in the work, and hoping to get that invite.
It's an amazing skill, right? And you would appreciate that. You get into the sled and you there's obviously similarities, but it's a completely different sport than the one that you used to play. How long did it take you to kind of get over maybe a bit of a hump and see that, yeah, I want to play this, but I'm going to be able to be good at this?
Yeah, I mean, I think I got onto the ice 4 months after the accident, and thanks to Chris Cederstrand, he actually got me out there. And I thought, okay, well, this is difficult, right? And I'm just going to keep, working away, plugging away, see how good I can get. And then, as I continued to get better and worked on the sort of finer skills of the game, it was like, okay, maybe I have a chance to actually play for Team Canada. So ever since that switch sort of flipped, I've been, grinding in the gym, just on the ice and working on those skills consistently and just training with the top talent. Like we have a few national team guys out here in Calgary who I train with, and them being able to push me and vice versa, I think is allowing me to grow and understand the game. And I have a lot weighing on this personally just to try and make this Paralympic team. But at the end of the day, I think even if I don't make it, I know that I put in the work, I learned a lot, and I can incorporate what I learned into future endeavors.
To walk us through a regular week, because I mean, I don't know if you're on the ice. I know hockey's kind of a year-round thing, but you've got the para hockey and you're out doing speaking engagements. I want to talk about the foundation, but then there's the physio and the therapy part of your recovery and all of that. What's getting the balance of your time right now?
So on a busy day, I'll get up pretty early, head to physio for about 8:30 on the other side of Calgary. Like I'm in Airdrie right now, so I got to drive down by Chinook Mall, which takes up a majority of the morning, and do physio for about an hour and head to Winsport for about an hour and a half to 2 hours of training after. And then either I'm on the ice or, doing something, working or traveling or something like that. And that pretty much takes up my whole day till about 5 o'clock. And then I try and sort of relax, reset, and just, get away from technology for a little bit and just, unwind and then get prepped for the next day. So I go to physio about twice a week, and then in the gym, 3 days a week, on the ice 4 or 5 days a week.
It's a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
That's beyond a full-time
Busy
job.
cat right there.
That's a lot. How is the recovery? I know there's making gains here and there. I saw the one where you got the yoga ball going back and forth. It's amazing, man.
It's good. It's a long process. I mean, the spinal cord is such a undiscovered and unknown a thing of the body that people don't quite understand. And when that gets injured, it's up to the body to heal, and it could be the longest recovery journey of your life. And I think even if you do fully recover, you're not fully recovered. So for me, I'm just grinding away at working on stepping, using that epidural stimulation device I got in Thailand back in 2019, and trying to move those muscles below my injuries so that, if I do have the chance to recover, that I'm going to have a more successful rate than if I didn't have this surgery. So it's a grind, but I'm just going to continue using the stim and just trying to keep the legs healthy.
So tell us about that surgery. What was entailed in it, and why do you have to go to such great distances to go get the surgery? Walk us through that.
So it's the surgery itself is obviously an epidural stimulation device, but it goes in the T10 vertebrae. It's got a bunch of electrodes, and it's attached to a battery pack on the side of my hip. And essentially what this does is send electrical currents over the break of my back. And in doing so, it allows me to move muscles below the injury. And the reason I had to go to Thailand was because they were certified out there for spinal cord injuries. So Canada actually has the device, but it's used for chronic pain and not spinal injuries. And obviously something like this wouldn't get approved for me to get here in Canada. So I had to go all the way to Thailand to get it done. And once I got it done, it was about a month and a half process of living out there, using it 4 hours a day, mapping, walking, doing all these things just to get it going and ingrained in my system, so that when I went back home, that I could do it by myself with the remote that they gave me. So it was a huge learning curve, and I'm really fortunate that I had it done.
I'm not techie at all, but I like with AI. Are there expectations that there's going to be huge gains made? I mean, everyone's talking about AI and it's going to change the world. And is the expectation that's going to change in your world too?
Maybe. I mean, I'm always staying hopeful, and I'm open to trying new things. I think I know there was this like Neuralink coming out with Elon Musk's group and whatnot. And I don't know the where that could go, where that could lead, but I'm excited and I'm open to trying new things. I mean, like I said, I mean, where I'm at right now is healthy, but again, if I can use anything to sort of get better and get closer to walking, I'm absolutely going to take that opportunity.
So you've got the para hockey, or golf. There's actually a message just came in from, I think that's from Nick or somebody. I saw it. Wheelchair rugby is also that's a different animal all in itself. How many different disciplines and things are you trying out right now? And I guess maybe that rugby, you can tell us a bit about that.
I'm trying everything. About a month ago, I did wheelchair rugby for the first time, and I wasn't sure what to expect. And then I remember just doing a scrimmage or whatever, and I got a ball, and I was like, just gunning it, right, trying to get a try or whatever you call it. And all of a sudden, someone came in and just clocked me, like wheelchair to wheelchair. I caught some air, kind of opened my eyes. I'm like, are we allowed to do this? I looked around and no penalty, nothing. So it's like full range. So I just started just sprinting around the gym, just hitting people, and had a blast. And hopefully maybe I can compete in that as well. And on top of the rugby, I'm playing wheelchair basketball. I tried rowing, mountain biking. Just there's so many different avenues that I could take now. And it's one of those things where obviously hockey is a big part of my life, and after the accident, hockey is what I resorted to. But now that I've lived certain experiences and got to meet all these different athletes, I'm like, there's more out there that I can try, and there's no end to the road, right? Like, you can continue trying all these sports, you can grow them, you can try and make the most of it, and just kind of show people an example of the road's never over. There's always something else out there.
And I'm guessing each one of those sports, each avenue has such a great group, a support group within them, right? So the more you try, it's another
community, right?
Another community that you're part of.
Exactly. We know the hockey world's really small, but I mean, even in these Paralympic sports, it's even smaller. You meet someone else and they've tried this sport, then it leads you to that. And you meet someone else and they tried this sport and they leads you to that. So it's never ending, and it's such a small world, and it's a tight knit community. And we all know the power of a tight knit team, right? So It's an incredible feeling, and the road's never over.
StrazStrongFoundation.com, you mentioned off the start, is that's the website. It leads you to think that there's a foundation involved with the website. When did you start the Straz Strong Foundation?
So it actually started when I was in the hospital. A good friend of mine, Cody Thompson, started it to raise funds for rehabilitation needs for myself back in 2018. And over the course of the pandemic, it was just kind of stagnant, wasn't really doing much. And I had the idea, I'm like, well, if it's just sitting there, we might as well do something with it. So decided to turn it into a foundation and apply for charity status so that, with the funds accumulated through the foundation, we can give back to people, right, for accessible sports and rehabilitation funding. So, we obviously doing this fundraiser, first one really to raise funds to kind of show people that, hey, you know what, this is where the money's going. This is why it's important. We want to sort of get an understanding and give them a perspective of the world of adaptive sports and how the Straz Strong Foundation can help.
And everyone's in such a different spot, right? In some ways, you live close to Calgary, you're fortunate you can get in for therapy and the rehab. For a lot of people are isolated. They can't do that sort of thing. There's the mental rehab, there's the physical rehab. There's so many different things, right, that this money that's being raised can go and help.
Absolutely. It's not just one avenue, right? I think we all know being athletes, it's more than just the physical stuff. It's the mental stuff as well, and everything else that you do, that you surround yourself with. So it was super, super important to me. And I knew the power of rehab and adaptive sports personally. And I wanted to help, sort of start something where people can also find their goals, and they can also try and reach them through these avenues as well. So it was just the idea I had, and I'm going to see how far I can take it.
I remember, you mentioned COVID. You lose almost 2 years, but I remember we were at an event at the Saddle Dome, and you were there, and you've been doing this, like you said, 4 months after you were in a sled playing hockey. You've been part of the community charity events and stuff basically since day one. And I guess I'm just kind of curious. Everyone has their own story to tell. You don't need to be doing any of this. You could be just living your life behind closed doors, doing your own thing, but you're choosing to be front facing and to be out there, and you're public speaking, and you're visiting schools and all this sort of thing. Did you know right away that was going to be your path now, or did it take a while to get there?
I had no idea. Before the accident, I was never much of a talker. I kind of, I'm a completely different person, I guess. And after the accident, I was like, well, what is next for me, right? Like, now that the next door is sort of open, what sort of opportunities can I do now? And a lot of that led to public speaking and telling my story and realizing the impact that it made on certain individuals, and realizing that, for me, I don't think anything differently. It's just the way I want to live my life. But for someone else, maybe they hear my story and they're like, oh, now I can try and do something like that. And it's an incredible feeling, and you want to keep it going, just because I've obviously experienced the tough parts, and especially I just remember being in some of those low moments where you don't want anyone else to sort of experience that. So it's important for me to sort of share my story that way, so they understand how to handle those low points and handle adversity in life, because it's more than just the accident for my story, right? I kept getting cut from hockey teams. I kept getting shut down for certain things, and it was important for me to kind of learn from that, embrace the pain, so that I can share this message now and let people know how to handle adversity in the future.
There's a saying that sometimes you're too close to the elephant. It means sometimes you need to really appreciate the enormity of this elephant. You need to kind of back up a little bit and really take a look at it. You're still such a young guy. It's only been a few years. I just wonder, because I know how people react when they see you, and you can see in that video the kids that are in awe of you, the story that you have to tell. Are you able to back up from the elephant enough and see the kind of impact that you're having? Because you really are very much an inspiration to a lot of people, and it's happened in a short amount of time, and that is going to be your life story. The amount of people that you are going to touch their lives. Is that sinking into you, or is that kind of, are you too close to it?
It depends. Like I said, I don't really think about it too much. I'm truthfully just living and doing what I want to do, right? And obviously don't let it get to my head or anything like that. And it's super cool when kids can actually come up and feel that they can trust me with what they have to say, and then people, asking me, life questions, right? And it's a cool feeling because I've never experienced that before, but through the stuff that I've lived, right, I feel like I can shed a little bit of information or inspiration in some capacity. So I think definitely taking a step back every once in a while and kind of understanding the leverage you have and sort of the impact that you have is something I don't like to do too often, because again, if I think about it too much, it's gonna get me overthinking. So I just try to just continue doing what I'm doing and know that it's helping a lot of people out.
Yeah, you're a humble guy. I think it's okay if you take a step back because you truly are. It's amazing what you're doing, and I think it does. There's a lot of people who really are drawing strength from you, and I think probably for a lot of people that do that inspiring work, they may not appreciate it. So you're doing these speaking engagements. How many of these are you doing? It feels like you're getting busier with it. You were with Adidas and Whistler. You're at NHL training camps and prospect camps. What's been the coolest or some of the coolest things that you've done?
There's a lot. I mean, that Adidas golf one was pretty cool because that was their international team coming into Whistler for a week, and I got to speak with them and maybe get some stuff in the works for Paragolf and myself included. So I did training camps. I did Nashville last year at their development camp, and then I just did Arizona's a couple weeks ago. So got to travel to some pretty cool places, and going to continue just telling my story and working on that, and hoping just make a collection of NHL development camps and get some hats and stuff and just start a wall or something.
Well, whose jersey's hanging behind you there?
What do you got?
Oh, so Jonathan Toews was my favorite player growing up, and he gave me a signed jersey. And I can't see it, but on the wall up here, I got 4 sticks, and they're all personally signed by I think it was McDavid, Seguin, Ryan O'Reilly, and Jonathan Toews. So pretty fortunate guy, and I just want to keep creating a collection of just everything.
What's going on with the Flames? We can't figure it out.
You know what? That's on you guys. I can say my
Thanks for the
dummy. He didn't fall into that trap.
StrazStrongFoundation.com. It's the launch charity golf tournament coming up Sunday, August 27th. All the details that are there. Sponsorship opportunities, foursomes available, maybe just a twosome that's available as well. Get involved. I think it's awesome you're doing this. You are having you're making a difference, Ryan. Great work. Glad to see how well you're doing, and hope to run into you soon.
Thank you.
Awesome. There he is. Straz Strong, getting her done. And it's kind of a cool event. Launchpad is neat. If you've never been to Launchpad, it is tremendous. And they have one at Mickelson and then at Heritage Point, where we've been at. So then they'll start golfing, and they got the dinner, and they got silent auctions, all kind of stuff.
That's a banger right there. That's a good little event. You tie in Heritage Point and Launchpad. Love it.